Welcome to Startup Confidential, what industry insiders will never tell you that you need to know if you're building a consumer brand. With your host, best-selling author of Ramping Your Brand, Dr. James Richardson. Let's do this.
Welcome to episode 147, Founder Archetypes, the Finance Founder. In this episode, I'm continuing a mini-series drawn from my extensive conversations with CPG entrepreneurs over the years. What these archetypes consist of are what social scientists call primary biases. These aren't personality characteristics, they're socially constructed primary orientations toward the world. And thereby, until one develops massive self-awareness, your primary orientation to your business as well. You could say they're related to a founder's core skill, and that's often the case because that skill is simply the one they've been most heavily rewarded for in their social lives. The point of my Archetypes series is to boost your self-awareness as a founder, so you should be listening to these to see if you hear a description of yourself. I mean, this stuff isn't always pleasant to acknowledge, so that's why I jumped all over it. Seriously, I think it's really important, even though nobody enjoys the process of becoming more self-aware. It's painful. I assure you that founders with heightened self-awareness hire better, lead better, and they interact better with everyone in the industry. Some call it EQ. Okay, with that preamble, it's time to talk about my most frustrating archetype of founder, the finance founder. I'm talking about the founders whose social orientation to the world is one in which the most valuable thing is money, and solutions to business problems are assumed to be financial in nature. Finance founders tend to be very good at managing financial risk posed by launching in this crazy CPG industry. These are the folks who tend to already know that they should be calculating fully loaded costs per case, not just production gross margin. This pressure tests their unit economics before they even commit. They don't discover their business profitability months after launch, once surprise deductions slash their initial invoice to near nothing. They raised enough seed money in most cases and understand cash flow forecasting. Sadly, lacking this skill set is the primary reason the average amateur startup founder goes out of business in phase one, using retail routes to market, months after launching, but years away from ever scaling anything at all. However, the same exact mindset that prevents financial faceplants is the same one that completely crashes out when it comes to other business functions that require much more patience and where measurement lags the investment by months and months. I had a client once who reached out to reconnect with me, and when I asked him his burning questions of the moment, he listed optimizing field marketing for immediate ROI and optimizing his TPR programs at key accounts. Immediate ROI. ROI means return on investment for those of you new to business. This is the term most founders do not actually use regularly at all, in my experience. But the finance founder will use it all the time to evaluate everything, probably even his own sex life. The immediate thing is even more of a problem for these folks, which I'll come back to in a bit. Look, micromanaging operating costs is essential to survival as a CPG business, especially when the silly amount of VC money thrown to amateurs in the 2010s is unlikely to ever appear again in our lifetimes. But Finance Founder Guy drops the what is the ROI question before every single executional decision. And this is where Finance Founder Guy gets in his own way. CPG businesses scale on the basis of growing consumer demand. And there is no financial trick to accelerate consumer demand. None. As I discuss in my book, only the overall memorability of your products will accomplish demand growth. Financial wizardry simply allows your business to make money. which you use to grow operationally. But if consumers vote you down, a great business model won't help you. You will still get delisted and have to wind. The vast majority of executional moves in consumer packaged goods, including food and beverage, are indirect levers to financial growth if you really look at them. In fact, almost every move has but a partial relationship to growth, except for perhaps bringing home that first retail purchase order. But especially the capital raise you bragged about on LinkedIn. That establishes nothing at all, really. Working capital is just fuel. The ROI question is extremely contagious in a small team because it seems so responsible and so mature. Except that it is incredibly short-sighted in consumer packaged goods when the primary lever of growth is the enthusiasm of ordinary people. Ooh, soft and fuzzy. The obsession with calculating direct ROI on every decision generally masks a personal problem in my experience. And that personal problem is with taking calculated risks on indirect growth investments. And this is where most finance founders balk. They honestly freeze. They are more comfortable paying a slotting fee because at least they can calculate the immediate ROI of getting into retail D's shelves. Or they think they can. Consumer marketing and store demos are both common cognitive blocks for these folks. Your business model is the only thing you have that's 100% under your control. When it comes to expenses to influence velocity, though, you have to learn to let go of that need for total control. CPG growth is not yet a laboratory science, folks. A finance founder guy thinks it really should be. If he just gets the right input data, surely he can build an Excel model that will predict high ROI advertising or the perfect set of design attributes to predict memorability. Throwing up ROI roadblocks to every marketing investment is not a smart approach to growth, even if it seems on the surface to be financially prudent. Field marketing is my favorite example of something that utterly mystifies finance founder guy. What's the ROI? Well, in the near term, it costs a ton to staff the events and uses up cases of product for free samples. Oh my God, we're not even charging them? We're not taking money on the table? Oh my God, how do you know it's working? How do I quantify the impact? When do I get a return? What the f*** is the point? The finance founder does not have the faith required to calculate the value in store demos by calculating how many repeat purchases get generated out of each demo event and the 3 economic value as consumers. No. He didn't even think about repeat purchase. He only thought about immediate ROI at the table. How many bottles did I sell versus my expenses that day? This mentality reminds me of a horrifying anecdote from my graduate school research. Brace yourselves for a line from a 1919 letter sent from a wealthy American donor to a Christian missionary school in India. I want to know how many converts I'm getting for every dollar I give, or I can't continue to give. Wow. That, my friends, is some crass Jesus love. The problem with finance founders' constant ROI interrogation is that it dehumanizes the entire culture of the organization over time. Everything becomes reduced to a cost, a troubling cost. And believe me, this obsession with ROI will ultimately lower the risk-taking threshold for the whole company. It will make the playbook weak and cheap. This mindset also contaminates a founder's relationship with their employees because the latter may feel that their existence at the company is no doubt being evaluated also on a crass ROI basis by the hyper-rational founder. Successful founders manage finances, yes, but they also provide a vision for the company that motivates hard work. Going on and on and on and on and on and on, but why are we doing that cost and what's the ROI and la 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 la, just drowning everyone in your penny pinching rationality is not a vision and it ain't motivating. If the goal of finance founder is to eliminate all business moves that have indirect influence on growth, then they will wind up with the shittiest possible array of tactics available in their playbook. And the problem is that those easily measured immediate ROI tactics, they don't scale CPG businesses any more than simply selling in through a broker network to 90% ACV can scale a new trademark. It just does not work that way. People scale brands. Consumers scale brands. But they have to become motivated to seek out your thing. Scaling a CPG business is about a custom playbook of moves, and I have seen this in my own client work with smaller companies in prior years. All right, folks, that's it for this episode. And as always, be safe out there.
Thanks for listening. Remember, Dr. Richardson has loads of resources for founders at premiumgrowthsolutions.com. And when you're on his site, don't forget to take his founders quiz and see if you're ready to ride the skate ramp of exponential growth.